Kick. Boom. On kick. YouTube. Restream, chat. All right. Ticky tack. Look at this. All right, so let's start talking about this this year's homesteading plan. I am not gonna be able to charge my phone while I do this, so it is what it is. When we talk about this year's homesteading plan, what we plan on doing, what we plan on putting on the homestead, and why, design choices for different stuff. I'm just getting ready to go live on TikTok. If y'all got questions on Kick and YouTube, let me know. But this is Goshen Farms. Right now we grow about 60%, 60 to 70% of our food for the whole year. Plant our own trees, create our own value-added products. This right here is homemade sorghum syrup. Just kind of showing, it's going to be what most of the live is, showing the different products that we make and how people can homestead, especially as inflation and economic changes happen in the next couple months, couple years, and how people can counteract that by growing their own food. So that's what we're doing. Bear with me as we get going on other platforms. Just doing that. But if y'all got questions, put it in there. We're trying to really show y'all how to grow your own food, because a lot of people do not know how to do it, how to start a homestead, where to start, what to do. Let's see. Planning Homestead 2026. This is my lovely wife on the right-hand side of me. That is Mara. You might have saw her in some earlier videos. She's been extremely busy and pregnant, so not able to. All right, so what's up with this right here? I don't want to do that. I never felt so old than when I'm actually no. How do I do this? Not to do this. Can you figure out how to do this real quick? This settings. Oh, dual camera. Okay, no dual camera. We're gonna have to deal with that ceiling in this 6 o'clock. Though I ain't gonna lie to you. It's not the best. All right. So, and I think you can pin a comment here. If you could pin a comment to the top and just put what we're doing, like what we do and stuff like that. All right. So we're gonna go live here. Boom. Yeah, you can look on your phone and see how to do it. All right, we live on TikTok. We live everywhere, and we're gonna start with TikTok. And oh man, straight to 5 people on here. How y'all doing? We out here trying to share with y'all how we plan for 2026 homesteading. All right, so thank you for bearing with us up there on Kick and in YouTube. We got people on TikTok coming in. This live, we want to show y'all what we're planning on growing, what we're planning on doing for the year. So, if you could pass me some of these seeds over here, I want to show y'all some stuff. And don't mind us while we're doing the live. We are enjoying, fresh black walnuts that we grew this past year. Fresh black walnuts. So we have these black walnuts. Actually, I was wrong, right? Because we didn't grow them this past year. These are 2.5 years old. So that's the first thing we'll start with. Is a lot of uh a lot of people don't really understand the different sources of food that you can have on your land passively, right? Like for us, we have a black walnut tree and a couple other nut trees on the property, and one of the nut trees are probably one of the biggest calorie producers you could have on a homestead. So obviously, it's high in fats, high in calories, and one black walnut tree gave us probably around 150 pounds of nuts. 2 years later, 2.5 years later, we are now still eating that one harvest of black walnuts. We can't eat enough of them. And actually, they're pretty tough to crack. As you can see, I have a whole nutcracker here, and I gotta fight with it in order to crack them. But at, oh yeah, this is what that is right there. Look at that. That's a black walnut cracker. Well, it's really it's a nutcracker. So this year, in order to expand nut production, we have probably I think 25 to 30 nut trees we're planting. That includes, let me see what we got for nut trees. We got black walnut we're planting, chestnuts, heart nuts, uh, pecans, oaks. I'm missing some. Yellow horn and yellow bud. These are all different nut trees. And why did we decide about why did we decide for these nut trees? A couple of things that you wanna design for on a homestead. Like you need trees, and you want to make sure that every tree on your property has utility or has a purpose, right? And nut trees can do several things. We already mentioned that trees like these, black walnuts, it's high in calories. Also, for the nut trees like yellow bud and yellow horn, both of those trees, they're nut trees, but they're oil nuts. Meaning what? Like, we live in the Northeast. I cannot grow olives. I'll never be able to grow olives. Olive oil is one of the most common oils. And if you're looking for natural oils, you're not going to be able to grow olives here. Grapeseed oil is another natural oil. If you grow grapes, you know that there's not that many seeds in a grape. You need to eat a ton of grapes or process a ton of grapes to get enough seeds in order to make grapeseed oil. So, yellow bud and yellow horn, specifically yellow bud, I think it's like between 30 and 50% of the nut content is oil. So you can crush those nuts, and nut trees give like 150 pounds of nuts. You can crush those nuts and you can get oil, fresh oil for your house. So that's going to be our next expansion for the nut trees. We're going to be planting nut trees that give us more utility. Besides just fresh eating, we're also going to be able to get cooking oil as a as an option on property. All right, so that's nut trees. Where we got people joining us from? We got people joining us from. I see Iowa. I see people from different places. I don't want to talk until y'all give us some feedback, because I don't want to keep droning on unless it's going to be profitable to y'all. Fresh black walnuts, yo. Fresh black walnuts from the tree. So I'll stop eating these for now. Oh, we know. Okay, we got Dunker. We got Charlene in the building. I hope you're doing good, mama. Anyway. All right. I'm gonna pass up these unless you want some. Pass these up. I'm good. So another thing this year, this bag right here. See this? This is all comfrey roots. I know in previous videos we've talked about comfrey roots and how easy it is for comfrey roots to grow. I'm gonna show y'all something. Most plants, whether it be root cuttings or seeds, can be stored and continue to be viable if you store them in dirt, moist dirt, in a Ziploc bag or in a humid environment. So in here, oh no, these aren't even the comfrey ones. These are hazelnuts. I think they're comfrey downstairs. So this is called cold stratification. So in this bag, we have hazelnuts. Hazelnuts. So these hazelnuts that will grow, you can eat some, and you could also save seed in order to grow new plants. Now seedlings are not genetically identical to their parents. It's the same way how genes work in, like, let's say humans, right? Oh, appreciate that, Angelina. Appreciate that. Oh, she's still going. See that 20 with the finger hearts. All right, all praise. Appreciate that thing. Um, so these seeds, these will be not genetically identical to their parent. All right. They have to get seeds get flowers get pollinated, produce the seeds in whatever fruit or whatever propagation method that they choose, and then they are not genetic clones, but they're genetically related. A big idea on the property for us, a big idea on the property for us is to, now that we have a lot of, plants on property, we want to make sure we're propagating a bunch of plants in the next couple of years to fill out all our acreage with edible plants. The goal is that almost every single plant we have in like a 4 to 5 acre radius has some sort of utility, has some sort of purpose. I'm not going to keep a random non-native weed on the property when I could put a native elderberry that will grow like a weed in that place. So as I go through and plan for each year, as I go and plan each year, I'm trying to figure out what plants I could replace, what plants I could propagate in order to continue to grow the homestead with a food production plan. So these are hazelnuts being cold stratified. All right, if y'all got questions, don't be afraid to ask. You know what I mean? We on YouTube, we on Kick. I know my YouTube and Kick just got a my stream just lost a service. All right, cool. So this is like I said, cold stratification. All right, moving on. So all this is getting done in the wintertime. Like right now, it's cold as hell out. It's about to be -9 today. So as I go through in the house, I'm looking at different seeds and how to propagate them and how to continue to grow different things. All right, these right here. See these? Some of them are already growing from storage. This is Egyptian walking onion. Egyptian walking onion. So one of the easiest things to grow is alliums. Alliums are like your onion and garlic family. So how they grow is different per type of plant. So alliums include this garlic. They include Egyptian walking onions. They include your onions you grow in the garden or in the store. And they also include like some types of perennial onions that we grow here as well, like multiplier onion. Um, what else do we have? Chives is an allium, even though they don't grow the same way. Um, but my point is this: do you need grow lights and it depends what the situation is for what you're trying to grow. So like Leah asked if you need grow lights and heating pads to grow indoors or a sunny window. It depends what you're trying to grow. If you're trying, oh, appreciate the gift. Hey, continue to favorite the live, continue to share it, continue to give gifts if you can. I'm also going to put down here, let me see. If y'all want, if y'all want merch, don't be afraid to add some merch to your household because it's going to help us be able to put forth more content. Because We are trying to be able to put forth content, probably videos, whether it be videos on YouTube, instructional videos to your liking, and also lives weekly. But to answer the question, it really depends what you're growing. So heating pads, yes, if the area that you're growing those seeds is cold, you might need a heating pad in order to germinate the seeds. Um, yeah, brassicas, tomatoes, peppers, and onions. Where are you located if you're gonna start doing seeds indoors now? Because if you're gonna do seeds indoors now, you got to be towards the south. Because even if I start seeds now in the northeast or in the in any zones like 6 and down, it's too early to do those seeds anyway. Unless you have a greenhouse that you're gonna transfer them into after you do that. 6B. Okay, so you're on the fringe. Um, yeah, you would need probably a heating pad, either a heating pad or grow lights. You're not gonna need grow lights until the seeds germinate. Like seeds need to be humid and they need the soil to be warm. That's where the heating pad comes in. And then once they germinate and start growing that little plant, at that point, then they're gonna need grow lights for light supplementation. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Um, but yeah, all right. So back to what I was saying about alliums. So we grow our own garlic, a year's worth of garlic. You can see how big these bulbs are, like in terms of like putting it to my head. Like these is big bulbs. Um, we grow our year's worth of garlic, and we also are trying to expand to other types of alliums. Like I said, this is Egyptian walking onion. My lovely wife is off camera here on look at that. Yeah, we don't got a we ain't got a wide enough camera to include it, so she here as an assistant. But this is Egyptian walking onion. So alliums usually they grow. Appreciate it, Gabar. Um, you got a garlic. It's a root. It's a bulb. It grows this stem, and that's what you see as the garlic that grows up, right? The way that these would propagate if you don't harvest them is that they would divide themselves and make two plants. So if you've ever grown garlic and you grow it, and then later in the year when it's about to die, you'll start to see it split. Half the garlic will be here, half the garlic will be here. It'll still be connected at the base, but it's splitting. It's starting to clone itself. It divides. That's how it propagates. Every year it splits into two. So naturally, these plants they grow in a patch in like the understory of the forest, and they continue to divide and multiply, multiply, multiply. All right. Um, Now these Egyptian walking onions, they grow different. They do divide in the ground, but these are like little seeds that they set. So this grows up at the top of the Egyptian walking onion. It flops down, and then all these are different seeds. Let me see if I split it. This is a seed. Seed. So then I can go plant these anywhere on my property and grow a propagating garlic. And this is a natural perennial garlic. So as I go through my property, I grow garlic all year. I have green garlic all year. I can store garlic all year. I have more garlic than we could use. More garlic than we could use. And I don't know if you wanted to start making your cough syrup. So my wife on the side over here, she also uses the garlic to make cough syrup because we have just put this up. Yeah, I'll talk about the honey. All right. There's a little flash go of 3 different gifters to send a lightning bolt this live in 15 minutes. Let's see if we can get let's see if we can hit the goal. Hit the goal. But so here we grow our own honey for the year. Grow it. I guess the bees, we have bees that give us honey for the entire year, right? So um we have more honey than we could use for teas and sweeteners and stuff like that. We have more honey. So then we flip this into cough syrup, right? We flip this into cough syrup. So we take the garlic, and I don't know if you want to explain it versus me. Go ahead. What do you do to make it?
So you take the garlic. You want to break one for me?
Yeah.
You just break it apart. You break it apart, and some people like to cut it up You don't have to do that if you don't have the time or if you don't want to. But you fill your jar, get a mason jar. You fill your jar about halfway with your garlic, your garlic cloves, and then you just pour your honey on top.
Do I need to
And
crack this? Like, can I crack it a little bit? Does it release it? Does it
you
not?
can, yep. Like some people will cut it, some people will just like smash it just to crack it a little bit and leave it whole. And then you fill your jar up halfway with the garlic, and then you put your honey inside, covering your just covering the top of your garlic, and let it sit before you start using it. Let it sit for at least 12 hours. At least 12 hours, but you can let it ferment for a couple of weeks even, and you can use it as a cough syrup, just as for immunity, and because the garlic of course is for the immunity, and then honey is good for your throat, for like coughs, colds, things like that. And so put them together and you have made your own cough syrup. You don't have to go to the store to buy cough syrup. If you have no way to get to the store, stuff hits the fan, you need something. This is, you grow your garlic, raise your bees, get your honey, and there you go. Medicine.
Yeah, and so like think about it. I want to make sure you also understand like we only have one raised bed of garlic, and that grows enough garlic for the entire year. Oh yeah, two raised beds of garlic. We also have those other types of alliums that we mentioned. We got chives that grow naturally. We have this Egyptian walking onion that grows naturally. All that's happening, and then we only had two beehives for our entire family and to sell. This year we're gonna move up to five, hopefully, if the Lord will. But so that's where the honey, pretty passive activity. You don't really need to do much for the bees except check them twice, once every 2 weeks. So that basic activity, those two basic activities, you already got cough syrup. Yeah, so put that in there. I
And
mean, obviously we're gonna do more, right?
I'm just gonna keep working on this while you're talking about.
Take that, take that. But yeah, so we already talked about black walnuts. We grow all our black walnuts here on the farm. 2 years old. Got the honey, got the garlic. Look at this. Is our next plant. Is another thing we're trying to plan for next year. I don't know if you can see it here. These are mushrooms. These are shiitake mushrooms. These are dehydrated though, because we wanted to save them for the wintertime. Ooh, that was a seal. Now we got it using them. Gotta put them in a soup. These right here is shiitake mushrooms dehydrated, right? I mean, I don't even know. Yeah, it tastes just like the mushrooms you get on a pizza. At this point, it's kind of like tastes dusty actually because it's dehydrated. Hey, it tastes really good. I ain't gonna lie. Try that. That's crazy. I haven't tried them just dehydrated like that. I would snack on that as a chip. Let's cut them thinner, dehydrate them. We're experimenting on live with y'all. But that's really good. That's crazy work. I know y'all heard the crunch on that one. You had to. Y'all had to. And that's mushrooms that we grow. We grow these. All right. So now this year, again, because it's a planning session. This year, we're trying to expand the mushroom log area to about 20 logs. Well, I am 20 shiitake logs, and we should be able to grow all the mushrooms that we need during the growing season, and then dehydrate enough so that we can have mushrooms throughout the wintertime. And 20 logs, you can stack the logs vertically. Like I don't know if y'all ever played with Lincoln logs or seen Lincoln logs, right? You can stack them like Lincoln logs, like cross them, cross them, cross them, cross them. And you could stack 20 mushroom logs in like a 6 foot by 6 foot space. And you can put it in the shade. So if you don't got good light in your backyard, if you got like a patio that gets no light in the wintertime and in the summertime, I mean, not no light, obviously it's outside, but low light, you can grow mushrooms. You don't need full sun to start growing your own food. That's the point I'm trying to make. So this year, as I make my plans for where I'm going to put stuff on the property, I'm including these mushroom logs as a planning tool. All right, so that's another thing we got. Anybody got questions? I ain't trying to talk for the whole time. I mean, I am trying to talk, but I ain't trying to consume y'all time with random stuff. Y'all got questions? And I'll take a question and I'll get back to what we're planning. Let me show you next thing. So spaghetti squash. When we harvest the squash? October. This squash was harvested in October. It's been sitting in our cold mudroom for 3.5 months. 3.5 months. We can cut into this and cook it now. So another part of our planning is we are going to be growing spaghetti squash, butternut squash, trombone squash. Um, can't do summer squash. All the winter squashes they'll hold for the entire winter time. And hopefully this year we'll be making a root cellar, so that root cellar is going to be able to take these squashes throughout the entire winter and keep them fresh. So with everything else we've already talked about, keep in mind we're going through each and everything that you could do in a small space. This is adding to our food for the entire year without leaving the house. We haven't left the house yet to go to the store. Have not. All right. Hey, continue to favor the live. Continue to share. I'm trying to up the league on TikTok. I'm trying to get to League D4. As y'all share the live, as y'all give gifts, as y'all like the live, it'll elevate the live higher so that we can, continue to ascend there and kind of help other people, especially people in our community, to grow their own food. All right. If you want, go down there, hit the product. I know y'all drink tea. I ain't the only one. Or you drink coffee. You got to drink a home cup. You got to feel at home while drinking at home. Ooh, I don't know if that worked, but that's a good one right there. But all right. So spaghetti squash. All right. So spaghetti squash. So now let's talk about sorghum. Look at this. This is sorghum syrup. All right. We live in the north, right? Yeah. Let me show you. Yeah, get the sugar drips. So my wife about to get the seed out. So in the north, we don't got sugar cane. All y'all in the south, Florida, maybe southern Texas, different areas like that, y'all can grow sugar cane. Cool. We don't got sugar cane. Our options are honey, maple syrup, and what we're about to show you, sorghum. That's the only way we can get sweeteners throughout the whole year if you're trying to homestead. So this right here, I'm gonna show them the type first. So this is sugar drip sorghum. Sugar drip sorghum. It is a grass. All those, whether it's sugar cane, whether it's sorghum, they're types of grasses. They're thick grasses. Like bamboo's a type of grass, believe it or not. But the stalks on these grasses, that's where the sugar content is. You crush it and you make like sugar sap or sugar water rather. So this sugar drip is a type of sorghum that's breeded in order to have a thicker cane. Now look at this. After you get that sorghum juice, oh, we appreciate you. Yorona purchased the product. We appreciate you. She got the mug. Thank you for that. Um, so when you get the sorghum, you get like maple syrup. You get sap from it, or you get that sugar water. You boil it down into a syrup because it's sugar water. So when you boil the water, it evaporates just the water and leaves the sugar content behind. The same way when you go, if you ever looking at like the road in the north when you have snowfall and they put the ice on the ground and the snow melts and maybe the sun comes out and evaporates the water off the ground, what's left on the road? That white salt. When you evaporate water, it doesn't take the minerals that are dissolved in it with it. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm getting too deep for this, but I might be giving too much detail people don't want. But point is, as you evaporate the water, you're left with syrup in its sugar form. And if you keep evaporating syrup, that's how you make sugar, right? So this is sweet syrup from sorghum. We got honey for the year. Between these two, these are our sweeteners. In February and March, I'm gonna do a live as I'm uh as I'm doing maple syrup, right? I'm gonna be tapping maple trees. I'm gonna be doing a live while I'm out there harvesting syrup. So these are the sweeteners we have. We don't have. I mean, we have sugar. Obviously, I go to the store and get sugar. I'm not gonna front. But in the event I could not get sugar, these are our sweeteners. And so my plan is to continue to expand the property. For every single input that I have on the property, I'm going to figure out how to grow it on the land. So sweeteners covered. We just got to expand. What does sorghum taste like? Like a syrup or like a sugar? It's a mix. It's like now funny story though. Funny story. This you got to start this stuff. You got to make mistakes. You got to make mistakes. You don't make mistakes, you ain't doing nothing. So when I harvested the sorghum juice for this sorghum, I was running out of buckets because we were getting so much sorghum syrup from the canes. I had a sugar cane press. I was getting so much syrup, and not syrup, juice. So I filled up all my 5 gallon buckets. The only thing that I had left was a just empty, freshly used orange juice container from Minute Maid orange juice, right? It was just used. I told my wife, I was like, "Yo, we got to get it. There's too much juice coming out right now. We can't waste it. It's gonna fall on the ground." So we put the sugar cane juice in the orange juice container that was freshly used. So it seems like as it mixed with the last of the dregs of the orange juice in there, it gave the entire syrup an orangey flavor, an orangey undertone. Yeah. So I don't know if this sorghum should actually taste like that, or if it's a coincidence, but there's a little bit of an orange tinge to this syrup, a fruity tinge to the syrup. But other than that, it tastes like syrup. Not as sugary as maple syrup, but a sweet, fruity syrup, oddly enough. So what that tells me is if I go back and if I go back and harvest syrup from sorghum again, like this upcoming year, and and it doesn't have that orangey tinge, then I would exactly. That's the point. She said, and so you can make flavored syrups or sugars. Yes. So my thing was, if I go and I harvest sorghum syrup again and it doesn't have that fruity flavor, I'm going to make fruited flavored syrups. So I'm gonna take every year we freeze our blueberries for the winter. We have all our blueberries for the year. Raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, and now as the trees start to produce, we'll have apples, plums, cherries. So then what I'll do is as I get all these fruits, I'll freeze them, we'll boil them down, and then we'll probably add them to the syrup as it boils down to make fruited syrup. You can do anything, man. Come on. I get excited about this stuff. You can feed listen, if people did this stuff on a small scale in your backyards, you wouldn't be able to supply yourself with everything unless you had some acreage. I'm not gonna lie. But if people if we came together and everybody kind of pitched in a little bit, had their specialties, you could feed everybody and not have to rely on a grocery store. Is my point. And if you have enough acreage, you can supplement your food and live off the land if you really wanted to. You'd have to make some sacrifices. You have to choose not to do certain things or not to eat certain things, but you could do it. You could do it. All right, so honey's gone on this side. We did the sorghum syrup. Um, yeah, I mean, how do you bring back your fruit trees after the winter? What do you mean by that? Do you mean like how do they give me more fruit every year, or what do you mean by bring them back? I'm not too sure.
Ask me about pruning.
Oh yeah, do you mean like how do I take care of them? Again, while she yes, okay, how to take care of them. All right. So every year you need to prune your trees. Oh, I appreciate it. We got a gift. We got a rose. We got a rose. Appreciate it. All right. So, um, you have to take care of your trees. Now, why? You have to train your trees to give you fruit. All right, you got to train your trees to give you fruit. So what that means is the trees have kind of two ways that they grow. They grow fruit or they grow branches. It's called vegetative growth or it's fruiting growth. You need to take care of your tree in order to promote fruiting growth and not vegetative growth. So when you first get a tree, let me use my trusty whiteboard. Even though I still haven't figured out how to flip you guys, so I'm not gonna be able to write words on it. But I'm gonna do my trusty whiteboard here. It's a low quality production. We're trying to get better, but let's see it. Okay, so you got your fruit tree that's growing branches vertically, right? Every time your fruit tree grows, it grows branches vertically. That's vegetative growth. Fruit trees, do not grow fruit until their branches drop horizontally. Why? It's because it signals to the tree that I'm getting older, I have more weight on my limbs, I can bear fruit, I can hold fruit. That's a signal. So what you do is you artificially train your tree limbs down so that it tricks them to continue to build fruit. So I would take a little they have these like tree guards that you can push down the branch, and then after I do that for a year, this is what the branches will look like. After I train them down for the year, now all the branches are horizontal. Now the branches are horizontal. What that does is it shows the tree I need to grow fruit because I'm older, I can bear fruit. My limbs are saying to me I don't want to grow vertically anymore. I'm trying to grow horizontal and grow fruit. Because remember, fruit, seeds, flowers, these are all ways that plants produce themselves, like sexually produce themselves, right? So fruit has a seed in it, so that when the seed hits the ground, it germinates and makes another tree, right? So it's propagating itself. So when you put the branches horizontal, it's signaling to it that it needs to produce because it's no longer growing vertical; it's growing horizontal. It's getting older. It needs to produce itself, replicate itself. So you're tricking the tree to do that. Now the thing is, when you have a fruiting tree, you don't want. This is how when we get back to how do you take care of them. On your tree, if you don't take care of it, you'll have branches crisscrossing. Like this branch is growing vertical through these two. These two branches are growing right on top of each other. That's bad for the tree. Why is it bad for the tree? Because fruit and leaves need sunlight and airflow to produce. So when this has leaves on it, imagine this got leaves on it. Leaf, 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 leaf. Look at all them leaves on it. That's terrible. You can't probably see it, it's too far away. But those leaves, what they do is it covers the sun, and when it gets wet, the water can evaporate, so it breeds fungus on those trees, and it degrades the health of the tree. So to take care of it, based on the question you just mentioned, to take care of it, you're gonna have to prune those branches. And so I would prune them and choose which of these branches I want to make sure I maintain my tree in a certain manner to let light through. So you got to prune it, and that's a simplified version. You got to prune different trees different ways. Like some trees, this is called a central. I'm getting very detailed. I don't got to do this detail. It's gonna be a lot, but I'm trying to give you all enough that you can go research it. Or yeah, you haven't trained them at all. So there's gonna be some problems with it. So they may not produce fruit yet because you don't prune them, and they may not produce fruit every year if you don't do that, right? So to keep it simple, you got to train your trees. And as we do more lives, I can go into that more specifically. I'm actually planning. I'm actually planning to live stream when I prune my trees. I'm going to be pruning my trees maybe next week or the week after. I got to do it before the mid February, and I got to do it on a sunny day that's below freezing. So there's reasons behind it, but so I'll be hopefully trying to prune them. No, it's not too late to prune them. No, you got to prune them prior to when bud swell is. So you gotta prune them when they're dormant. Now, when you're in the south, there may you got to it depends what type of location you're in, right? Because some trees, like the tropics, there's no winter, so you prune it as you see fit in certain times. But for the northeast, if you have trees that are deciduous, meaning they drop leaves and they're bare, if they're deciduous, you do it during that dormant period. Yeah, if you're in Florida, it depends what type of tree it is though. Like banana trees is like it's you it's not a tree that you prune. It grows bananas and you cut it down, you plant another banana tree. You plant the rootstock. You know what I mean? Or like acacias. Like acacia trees, you don't really prune it. You kind of cut it down when you want. No, you can't really grow tropical fruit unless you get a in ground, like you need an in-ground greenhouse, like in the ground. I mean, like I'm talking about like 4 or 5 feet deep, and then cover it with a greenhouse like canopy, and then possibly still have to introduce some heat to it in the wintertime. So you can do it, but you know it's not something you just do. Um, but yeah, continue to share live, continue to do at post questions. I'm gonna carry on with what we're doing this year for planning because that's gonna be helpful. Oh, you got your is that what you're gonna do? You finished? All right, cool. You can show them real quick. Lovely wife is back. Go ahead. Oh yeah, you didn't even.
So this is about how much?
You can show both cameras too.
Oh. And then what I'll do is I'll just take the honey and you just pour it on top.
Okay, so sidebar as you do before you do that, when you said raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, hibiscus, those aren't trees. So when I say trees, I'm talking about trees. That raspberries and blackberries are brambles, blueberries is a bush, and hibiscus is a plant. And it's kind of like a shrub. It's a shrub too, actually. I ain't gonna lie. So that's different rules, totally different rules. So I'll show you that too when I prune mine. So don't prune them right now. Is my point. Don't do that. And elderberry, elderberry and different. Yeah, there's a lot. So another thing too, for those that really want to learn details, like I'm only on this live so long. Everybody's doing different questions. We do have a Discord, like in our profile. If you go search the profile link. Oh damn, I can't say that. They're gonna dox me. Not dox. They're gonna dock me points. You're gonna see in the chat where you go, because we have a community that will answer your questions. We do actually like instructional videos. Um, it's a paid service, so you'll see in the chat in a couple seconds what we're talking about. You'll post that, but that's where you can get more questions answered to that degree of specificity. And we'll also do different stuff like that in addition to yeah. There you go. That's what we're talking about. I can't really say it because you get doxxed. You get docked for the lives and doing that. So if you want to join and get, it's a monthly subscription that costs less than going out to eat for one person. And what you get in return is you get a list of grants that you might be able to apply for if you're a beginning farmer and you're starting a farming business. You get a bunch of resources, a bunch of ebooks for free. You get resources for other books you can find on Amazon. Depending on what tier you join, depending what tier you join, you get 30% off. I think it's 30 or 20% off all our plant stock that we could send you on the website so you can get your plant started, merch discounts. I got a lot of stuff on there that y'all could do. I think it's 10, 20, $30 tiers. So if you guys want more support in that realm, and we also hold members only calls where everybody kind of decides what they're trying to accomplish and we talk through it in a more detailed sense. So all that stuff, well worth the money. We put that at relatively cheap, so most people could do it. It's just a way for us to be able to like separate time for those that are truly wanting to learn, separate those that want the detailed information from those that are just passing through and just want to learn the basic stuff. All right, so carry on. Go ahead. Got to slide through. I'm gonna get my teeth.
Okay, so like I said, you can fill your jar up. I mean, you can fill it up more, but you want to give room for that fermentation as well, because after a few days, you'll, at least 24 hours, you'll start to see it like bubble up, and then what'll happen is as the garlic releases its juices and mixes with the honey, it'll become more liquidy, so it won't stay. So and you'll see how thick this honey is when I pour it in, but it won't stay like that after a few days. So maybe, actually, maybe next week.
Yeah, you can bring it back.
Yeah, I'll bring it back. I'll show it. Should have brought a spoon.
This honey's been in the cold room, so it's extremely thick. That's some good honey though. It's good honey for you.
Pour that on. Can you see them both?
Yeah, you see that.
I have to get some more.
Yeah, you might have to get a spoon too. Did you ever put you didn't put you put something else in there before too? Was it onions?
I have put onions in there with it, yes, and I have also put
Chives or something? No, you didn't do
red pepper flakes.
Oh yeah, red
Give it a
pepper
little,
flakes. Yeah.
little spiciness. I have put thyme in there. And sometimes when we're giving it to the children, anybody who's sick, uh, we will, I will add some what peppermint oil sometimes. Depends.
Oh yeah.
Depends on the severity of the coughing. And so that will seep in there as the garlic releases its juices.
Lingonberry, like, that's crazy.
You know where you're gonna plant that.
Onions, garlic. She said turmeric. So
Turmeric, yes,
yeah.
I do put turmeric.
So the only reason that, and she doesn't put stuff like that in there because of me. Because the only reason I don't have her put that in there is because in the event we don't live in the South, right? So in the event we can't get turmeric, I want us to be able to produce whatever we produce here. So as an experiment, everything that we could grow. So if we have to do turmeric, it would be a turmeric substitute, or we'd have to get a greenhouse and have space for the turmeric to grow. So she brought that up before, is getting turmeric and stuff like that, and even more ginger in the house. But the exercise and the point was, if you can't grow it here today, let's not focus on it. That's the only reason.
So that's why I do put the thyme in there and rosemary, the onions in there because we grow that and those are really good. Um, and then this is pretty much it. You kind of mix it up. Like I should have brought a spoon, but you just mix it up in there. It'll slowly get to the bottom. I'll probably mix it up once we're off the live. Just stir it and just put it in a cool, dark place. You want to let it sit for at least, if you really need it right away, at least 12 hours. At least 12 hours to just give it that time. But if you want the full effect of it, you want to let it sit for 24 to 48 hours before you start using it. And you can keep this for, I mean, I've kept it in the refrigerator actually. I just, probably 2 weeks ago, threw out the last one that I had that we had been using for the family. So you just have to keep checking it, make sure it's not spoiling or anything. And the reason you want to do that is because once you add something to the honey, and once you cut and add things to the garlic, it changes the composition of them, and you can't just, unless it's cold like the winter. I can leave this in the kitchen without refrigerating it or in the mud room because it's like 30 degrees in there. But you don't want it sitting out like on a warm or hot counter because it will start to get like little
Mold spores.
mold spores and things like that, because you're changing the composition. It's fermenting, and you don't want to leave something that's fermenting just in
But
the.
that depends. That depends. It depends what type of fermentation process it does. Because even like even when you ferment sauerkraut, like it's the fermentation process preserves it on the counter. You can put it at room temperature, so it might depend on what fermentation process is actually happening. So we have to look into that.
Okay. And then yeah, you can also keep it refrigerated to keep it for a long time. And sometimes I just keep adding. I just keep adding to it. I just keep
You had a
adding fresh onions to
question
it.
in there. She asked, what honey is? What type of honey is that?
Type of honey. This is honey from our bees. There. What how does it taste? Is it like a?
That's probably let me smell it.
It's not like our.
Oh yeah, give me a. It might be. It looks like it's more wildflower honey because
I should have bought it. I need to go get one.
we're gonna get. Let me see. I don't know. I can't really. Anyway, but you're watching us struggle. But it depends what time of year. So bees, honey will taste based on different based on what the pollen it is, what pollen it is, right? So like if it's clover, if that's where they're getting the pollen, it'll be clover honey. That's why you get that from the store. When you get bee wildflower honey, it's because they're getting their pollen from wildflower. So it depends on the season. For us, I find that the lighter honey, I believe it's more wildflower honey. I gotta check. There's a gradient on like what type of honey gets produced, but I think it's more like wildflower honey earlier in the season. And that deeper, darker honey is towards the end of the year when we have the clovers and goldenrod. I believe. I'm not sure though. Um, but yeah. So if you want to go get that other stuff, yeah, if you could refill my tea and then get whatever you need to finish that, just clean up the area, I guess. Um, she now the sister on here says that she does rosemary, thyme, and sage, and she. Yeah. Actually, I have yeah. Sage is another thing we're trying to do this year. More of a sage. So let me walk you through a couple more seeds, right? So, um, the fastest way to grow plants is going to be usually from um plant cuttings or plant like clonal propagation methods, meaning like cuttings or divisions or layering or different things like that. And I mean, the reason I'm mentioning that is because when you have seeds, it takes a longer time for the seeds to grow from obviously a seed to maturity. But if I take an elderberry, like somebody mentioned elderberry earlier, if I take a cutting from that elderberry and I put it in the ground, that year it'll grow relatively fast. But if I try and grow an elderberry from seed, I have to wait for it to break dormancy, germinate, and then grow. There's a reason I'm mentioning that in a second. But I'm not really sure if you can control the type of honey. I'm sure you can, because that's probably why you get clover honey from the store. But we let our bees just fly around, so I don't know if there's something that apiaries do. We don't plant for the bees. Um, but what I was mentioning about the seeds is anything that I want to grow fast, anything that I want this year to be like take off, and for me to be able to propagate in the future, I grow from plant cuttings or from grafting or from root divisions, different things like that. Um, yeah, exactly. Now, there's a lot of plants I want. I'm the type I want to get all my plants on my property today. The reason I want all my plants today is because the faster I get these plants, the faster I can experiment with them, the faster I can propagate them, the faster I could be able to sell them, the faster that I could build out my land with the plants that I want. So I want them today. However, I don't have cuttings or grafting for these different plants, and they're often more expensive when you go that route, like $7 for a cutting, $5 for a root cutting. It's more expensive. I could get seeds for like $3, and I can get 50 seeds. So what I'm doing is the plants that I want today are plants that I'm getting the cuttings and the divisions and the grafting, the grafted clones for. The plants that I want immediately, but I can't afford because I don't have enough money to buy cuttings or everything, I'm getting them in seed this year because this gives me a year for me to have to deal with them. I'll plant them this year, they'll germinate hopefully, then next year I'll deal with them to plant them out. So that's a way for me to not spend a lot of money but still get all my plants that I want this year. Does that make sense? I'm getting all the plants I want, but I'm choosing which ones to grow from seed because I know it's going to delay the time for me to have to deal with them. Somebody help. Does that make sense? Do you germinate them before planting them? I am. Well, let me say this. It depends on the seeds. Depends on the seeds. Cause like I'll give you an example. This right here is ground cherry. Damn, it's backwards still. I know it is, but I gotta figure out that. This is ground cherry. So ground cherry is in the tomato family, but it's like a cherry tomato, but sweet. Was it sweet? It was sweet, right?
Yeah.
It was orange and sweet, and it's
It's like
smaller. Yeah, it was like a cherry tomato. So it's ground. These are ground cherries. I say it all the time, but I like to take a step back and remind y'all what the goal is here. I could just grow tomatoes. I could. But the thing with tomatoes is it's an annual. And every single year, I'm going to have to collect seeds and plant them and put them in the garden and weed the garden. I don't have time for that. I travel a lot. I don't got time for that. So the reason I prefer perennials or plants that grow themselves year after year and I don't have to manage them is because it saves time and it's food security. So the reason I mention that is because for this ground cherry, it's like a cherry tomato, but it self seeds itself. And if you put it in a location with good soil, every year you just let the fruit fall to the ground and they'll come back every year. They'll come back. I don't got to really deal with it. So that's a ground cherry. I have some ground cherries from a local nursery, and I also got these specific ground cherries from a seed store, a special seed store. Um, so that's ground cherries this year. I'm going to be doing ground cherries and planning to put those near my annual garden, but not in my annual garden. I have little what I call like nodes of raised beds, like naturally raised beds, not in a box. I just put a bunch of dirt 6 inches deep on the ground. I put like 6 inches of dirt on the ground in a random spot. I'll plant a tree in the middle, and I'll plant support plants around it. And this will be one of those plants that get planted in those little nodes because then I'm having a tree grow in the middle of that, which will eventually give me fruit, and I'm having a bunch of fruiting plants or medicinal plants around it to help nurse that tree until it lives its full life.
Is that what you did?
Yes.
So if you've
Yes.
seen the Jerusalem artichoke video, that's what he's talking about, where he just has a mound of dirt. He planted Jerusalem artichoke in it, and then we planted what comfrey around
Comfrey,
it.
and there's a butternut tree in the
Yeah.
middle of it. The butternut tree died though, unfortunately. It died because I put chicken manure there and I shouldn't have. Sidebar. But yeah, the butternut tree died. You live and you learn. Um, so so that's the ground cherry. Now, if you're interested in seeds and stuff, I do have ground cherry seeds from last year. I can send people seeds. So again, we don't just do the social media thing. We have a nursery. So on that ourmoderngoshen.com, if you go to ourmoderngoshen.com, we have our plant nursery, we have our merchandise, we have our ebook so you can learn this stuff. We also have oh yeah, I can't say that. I keep telling myself I can't say that, but here I'll show you online. Yeah, there it is. Go ahead. Go to that spot. Maybe, possibly. You know what I mean? TikTok gonna give me the axe. Um, yeah. How'd you like the books? Were the books good? Did you start reading them? If you started reading them, let me know what you thought. I'm also working on a book. The ebooks that I have currently are like $2.99, very cheap. This ebook's like 20, 30 pages, like 15, 20 pages maybe, on different topics that whatever interests you, right? Um, now a thing. Okay, so with the package deal, I give everybody that does the Patreon, everybody that's on Patreon, I give them the package of the ebooks for free with the Patreon account. So you don't gotta buy it and then go buy plants. Like that's why I pushed the Patreon account because I made it cheap for a reason. Like if you go if you go to the Patreon, you'll be able to have the meetings with us. You'll be able to get exclusive content, grants, books. You'll get the ebooks for free. Like all that comes with it. So I do implore people to do that route more than the actually getting one or two things a la carte. Just FYI. But but I am planning on doing an ebook. I'm writing a book, right? Not ebook. I'm writing a full length book, like 150 pages. Um, I'm finishing it up now on how to grow a homestead on a urban lot, a suburban lot, or a very small lot, right? Because a lot of people you might try and grow like an annual garden, but you can't really get your full food value from that, right? Like you can't supply yourself on that throughout the year, especially if you're in the New York, if you're like in the Northeast, you're gonna have to put more planning into it to do a full diet. Um, that's a sidebar. So back to these seeds, right? So another perennial seed is this. You can't read it. I know you can't read it. I'm still gonna show it. Cranberry. Cranberry. So this is a cranberry, a perennial cranberry. So why am I growing cranberries? I don't know if y'all ever seen the ocean spray. What's it called? Ocean spray, right?
Mm.
I don't know if y'all ever seen the ocean spray commercial where they got the cranberries in a lake. Yes, yes, sir, yes, sir. I think they're on the YouTube now. I'm actually live on YouTube as well, so these lives should stay on YouTube. I think if you look on YouTube, yes, sir. Um, uh, good to see you, by the way, sir. Um, so the cranberries, right? These cranberries, they need to grow in a wet area. So like I got some acreage, right? Every part of my land, I'm trying to grow with the land. What does that mean? You got a part of your land. I know you do. If you walk around your yard, every time you walk in the rain, there's a puddle there. You walk through, you step in the puddle, you try and avoid this part of your yard because you got a puddle there almost all year. It's a wet area of your yard. So what that does for me is that tells me I need to grow a water loving plant there. I'm not the type I'm not gonna go buy $100 worth of compost to go fill the hole when I can just grow a food that's a perennial in the hole of water. You get what I'm saying? So that's the point where I say you got to learn how to design it according to your land. So then number one, I didn't have extra work because I didn't go to the store and buy compost. I didn't pay for compost. I didn't have to build a bed to save that part of the land. No. I just bought seeds and I'm planting a plant that would love that environment. That's the point. So I got parts of my land that are wet almost all year. The only time it's not wet is like the height of summer. That's where these cranberries are going. So instead of me avoiding that wet area, I'm now going to grow cranberries there. So that wet area now becomes a food production site. All right. Appreciate you, Lucy, with that heart. Appreciate you. Hey, again, if you could share the live, like the live, trying to get the word out so people can start doing this for themselves. Why? I don't know if y'all seen. I don't know if y'all seen what's going on. Dollars getting inflated. They predicting a recession. If you a believer, you know what's going on. But you ain't got no food grown. You think you're gonna be able to go to the store and get tomatoes? It's a lie. You need to continue to build up your household. So, if you could share the live, get the word out. What about rice? Rice is cool. The thing about rice is everything that I do, I'm weighing how much work I got to do for it. I'm busy. I'm busy. I travel. Silver exactly. The silver price going up. Silver price is going up. It tripled in 1 year. Silver tripled in 1 year. This year, at the beginning of the year, it was $31. Now it's 115. It's 115. What that says is because I don't know, people that don't know my background, but I'm a finance. My full time job. I do finance. I do real estate finance. When the dollar when people are less confident in the dollar, they switch to precious metals. And the dollar, when it loses value, prices go up. That's what inflation is. Inflation doesn't mean that the product is more expensive. Inflation means money can't buy as much of that product. So like Big Judge just posted, when that silver price goes up, it's showing you that the dollar is inflating faster and the dollar is losing confidence faster than usual. And if people in the market that know these things, if they know that and they're moving according to it, they're moving their money according to it, something happening. Something gonna go left. So that's a sidebar, right? Um, but my point is, damn, I was talking about what? I was talking about cranberries or something. All right, so next thing, sea buckthorn. Sea buckthorn. My big thing. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I say this is my point. This is my big thing is this. Stop wasting your time building a gigantic annual garden where you got to weed it every single day, where you have to plant every single year. You don't got time for that. Me, I was saying, I travel a lot. Like for the next, I think what 4 weekends, 3 or 4 weekends, I'm not gonna be home. Next 3 4 weekends, I'm not gonna be home. She she pregnant. She can't do nothing. It's like 6 feet of snow outside. So why would I make my land hard to work on? Because the more work I put on my land, the less work I can do off my land. Does that make sense? So again, I'm big on y'all might ask questions like, well, why don't you do this? Because it's more work. I'm not lazy. I'm trying to work smart. So sea buckthorn. What sea buckthorn is, it's a nitrogen fixing bush that gives fruit. What does that mean? I know you looked at me, you're like, what the hell does that mean? It's a nitrogen fixing, yeah, work smart, not hard. It's a nitrogen fixing shrub that gives fruit. All right. So you know people that go and buy fertilizer? Some people go buy fertilizer from the store. When people go and buy fertilizer from the store, they're trying to add, sounds obvious, fertilizer to the ground, right? There are plants that fertilize the ground. I'm gonna sit back for a second. There are plants that fertilize the ground. So a nitrogen fixing plant puts nitrogen into the soil. It takes the photosynthesis and the sunlight and the air and it puts nitrogen in the soil. So if this is a nitrogen fixing bush, it's going to put nitrogen in the soil for me. So whatever I plant around it is going to get a supplement of nitrogen. Appreciate it. Thank you for the gift. Thank you for the gift. We appreciate that. Continue to share the live. Continue to give gifts. And I'm gonna finish that nitrogen fixing topic after I post. Come on, y'all get a crew neck. Look at that. I post the crew neck. Boom. There's a crew neck right there. Support the crew neck, the home. Um, but the nitrogen fixing, right? It's a nitrogen fixing bush, so now it gives nitrogen. Now, there are plants that are called dynamic accumulators. A dynamic accumulator is a plant that takes all the minerals in the soil and brings them to the top of the soil and puts it in their leaves. All right, so I'm gonna use my board. I'm gonna try and use the board. Damn, that looks terrible. Let me use black. That's better. All right, this is the ground. You got roots. You got roots, right? These roots, a dynamic accumulator will take the minerals. A dynamic accumulator will take those minerals. I don't know why I drew a cactus, but it's really supposed to be comfrey. So comfrey is a dynamic accumulator, and what it does is it brings these nutrients and puts it into the leaves. It'll bring like potassium up. It'll bring potassium up. It'll bring other minerals. I'm blanking on minerals right now. I don't know. Go look it up. They'll bring up minerals. So comfrey will take minerals in the soil and they'll put it in the leaves. That's a dynamic accumulator. Now, like I said, sea buckthorn is a nitrogen fixer. Sea buckthorn is a nitrogen fixer, and it'll put nitrogen in the soil. So now, why am I showing you this? Now imagine I have an apple tree, right? I got an apple tree right now. Boom. So this is called like a guild. This is called like a tree guild, or you basically companion plant perennial plants around it into a guild. So now, if I take this apple tree, it needs nutrients from the soil in its roots. It needs nutrients and it needs mulch. You ever notice all the landscapers, they put wood mulch next to all the trees that they plant? Trees need mulch. It needs a fungal environment and it needs to be shielded from the sun. Now, what if I told you you fertilize this tree with this plant, you put nitrogen in the soil and fertilize this tree with this plant, and then you take the dynamic accumulated minerals in the leaves of this comfrey and put it down here as mulch. What did you just do? You just fertilized the top of the soil and you're fertilizing the tree at the bottom of the soil. Did you have to buy fertilizer? No. You did not have to buy fertilizer. Not only did you not have to buy fertilizer, you got the comfrey salve. Let me get that. Not only did you not have to buy fertilizer, you take beeswax from your bees and you put infused comfrey oil into a salve, vitamin E oil, and you now have a holistic medicine from this, from the leaves. You can mulch the tree with the leaves. You can make medicine from the leaves. You can take these leaves and feed your chickens. Feed your chickens comfrey. They love it. So you fertilized a tree with a plant that you're also using for products. Same thing with the sea buckthorn. The sea buckthorn gives you fruit. It gives you a bunch of orange fruit. So you're getting fruit and fertilizer from that bush. Now, in what? 4 square feet, maybe 2 feet by 2 feet. Well, not 2 feet. I mean, you're gonna need to plant a sea buckthorn like 7 feet away. So I'm exaggerating, but like basically in that small area, you got all that production. Is my point. That is planning your homestead. That is permaculture. So when you pair permaculture with homesteading and you design your homestead, you do less work and you produce more food and you make it more sustainable. So that's why I got sea buckthorn. I already got sea buckthorn in the field in my orchard, but I needed more and I couldn't wait for it to grow for me to propagate it. It'd take a couple years. So I'm just gonna keep growing some from seed.
Do you remember you would buy those fertilizer sticks?
Oh yeah. Listen, women will always make you spend money. We, you know what I mean? Don't listen to them. You don't when they want to spend money. Unless you're a brother that don't know how to use your finances, you might have to listen. But no, she was telling me because a lot of people fertilize their trees. They get a nitrogen fertilizer stick or fertilizer stick. They stamp it into the ground next to a tree and a fertilizer tree. That's cool. That's artificial fertilizer though. So every year you're gonna go buy the stick. You're gonna pay $17 for the stick every year. What if I got 50 trees? I'm gonna spend $500 on that? No. So I laughed at her in a loving way. But I laughed at her. I said, "Yo, no, just plant more of these. We're gonna design it, and we're not going to buy fertilizer. I have never bought fertilizer yet. I don't buy fertilizer. And on top of that, we didn't even talk about chicken manure or sheep manure or the fertilizer, the mulch that we make. So, and thank you, Angelina, for the rose. Appreciate that. Anybody that's on Kick, anybody that's on YouTube, again, follow, put comments on there. I'm trying to track both chats in order for everybody to get their questions answered. So if you're on YouTube, if you're on Kick, please follow, share the live. We're trying to be more consistent with going live on these platforms as well. All right. Um, Kick, yeah, Kick is a streaming platform. So we go Kick and Twitch and YouTube, trying to go on more lives. All right, I only got like 5 minutes left. I ain't gonna lie, cause I got 10% battery on my phone. What you looking for?
I was gonna say.
It's in the link tree. Just put the link tree in. But yeah, so sand cherry. Look at this. Western sand cherry. I'm also growing sand cherries. Sand cherries, as you can tell by the name, it likes sandy soil. I don't have sandy soil. I have clay soil that's often wet. So why did I buy this? I bought this because on the way back of my property, I have a creek. Oh, we got the lanterns. I don't even know what that is. All hanging lights. Appreciate you for the gift. Um, so sand cherries, they like sand, right? I have a creek in the back of my property. Next to creek, have you ever heard of the term creek sand? Like when you go to a creek and you like put your hand in the creek and bring up the dirt, it's like a sandy consistency. It's sand. So I didn't get the sand cherry to put in my garden. I have the creek, and I'm like, you know what? I should put a plant next to the creek. And the sand cherry tolerates cold weather, and that's probably the coldest part of my property, right? So now I'm looking at my creek. I said, what could I put there? I put a fruiting bush that likes sand and cold next to the creek. Seeds are damn. Seeds are $5. Seeds are $5. Now in 3 years, I'll have cherries, sand cherries, growing along my whole creek. That's the move. All right. He planted comfrey plants because I'm a herbalist and not to fertilize my plants. Wasting money. Right. Right. Exactly. So comfrey is one of the best plants for multiple uses. So you could fertilize your plants with it. Now, what I would do is, do you have chickens, Leah? Do you have chickens? Oh yeah. My children are becoming little herbalists as well. Okay, no. Well, if you have chickens, you could also fertilize them with the chicken manure and stuff. That's another topic. But yeah, comfrey, I would mulch. I would because comfrey comes back often. So if you plant enough comfrey, you can chop it down, put it next to your plants to fertilize the ground, and then take some in for herbs. But yeah, tell them about how our little kids, because they grow up on a homestead, they're learning more about herbalism, like indirectly.
Right. So, when we're in the field, a lot of the times we'll have the children out there. Actually, we now have it planted everywhere. We have it by the chicken run.
We
We have it
probably
in the
have
front. We have
500 plants or more of comfrey
the garden beds around the mounds,
in the orchard.
and the mound right here in
Yeah,
the front. We
mounds
planted
around
it
the
around there
orchard.
in the orchard. So, whenever we're outside and the children are usually with us, if they fall and scrape their knee, or
Not if
if
it's
they
an
get
open wound.
not like a full like, but if
Yeah,
they
yeah.
fall and they're crying and things like that, or they have a little scratch, a
Bruises.
little bruise or anything, they will actually now. It was funny. They will run and they will get the comfrey and they will squeeze it in their hand,
Make a pulse.
or chew it a little bit, take it out, and then they'll put it on there, right? And all the crying, give it about 2 minutes, all that crying will stop and they'll take it off and tell you that it feels better. So they've been running to go get comfrey every time they have a little fall. Even though there's no scratch, there's nothing on them. For some reason, it just makes them feel better. But you can use comfrey for things like that.
For abrasions, yeah, you can use it. You don't want to use it on an open wound as much. But like as the wound, like you know how you have an abrasion and the bleeding will stop, it'll scab over and it might bruise. Like after the wound has closed, you could use comfrey more so than an open wound. You don't want an open wound. But like when I my toe, yeah, I thought I was still young, and I was playing some ball, and I stubbed my toe to the point where I thought I was going to like have to get it looked at because I thought it was broken. Like my toe, I couldn't put pressure on it. So we took our comfrey set. It was black. Like it was bad bruising. So I took some comfrey salve and I put comfrey on my toe and wrapped it for about a week and a half. But on day three, my toe was back. I remember taking it off and I was like, yeah, shoot, I was back. So comfrey's a good plant. Um, I don't think I'm gonna get through all these leaves. Not leaves, seeds. So I think I'm going to next time I get on, maybe I'll do a second live this week. I don't know. Next time I get on, I'll go through the rest of these um seeds. But there's a lot of stuff upcoming. Like right now, obviously on the page you see that it's a lot of videos with the green screen. It's a lot of snow videos. Unfortunately, I started the page in the middle of winter time, right? So I didn't have a chance to show you what we really do in the garden. So it's about to amp up. It's about to amp up, and once the weather breaks, you're gonna see a lot more videos with what we actually do and how much you can do on a small plot of land. But yeah, yeah, I'm gonna be leaving. Yeah. So I'll probably go live on Monday. Monday will probably be when I go live next time. We'll talk more about it. We got 5 minutes before I gotta jump off. Anybody got last questions? I don't even think I got through all my stuff. I was gonna talk about all my sorghum and all that stuff. What y'all got? What kind of questions y'all got? Again, if you have any way you want to support the farm, if you feel like what you've been getting is helpful, you feel like there's some value that's been added to you, you know, if you could support the farm, um, you know, I currently still work full time, so I would love to be able to put more time into these videos in the future, but obviously I got to split with other priorities, right? So to the extent that you're able to help or willing to help, it'd be greatly appreciated. Um, what seeds do we recommend right now? You're in 6B, right? You think you said you were in 6B earlier in the live. Is that true? Yeah. 6B, I think it's still a little early. I would wait till like mid to late February unless you have a greenhouse. Do you have a greenhouse? Or even like a high tonal or like some sort of season extension? Because if you have like a greenhouse or something, you might want to be able to do more. Hmm. That's from the last fifth.
Oh.
But what I would recommend, I probably shouldn't have ate that handful of food, but before I was trying to talk. But give me a second. I'll answer in a second. Yeah. What I would do, my thing for people to do is to not focus on growing seeds. Start planning what you want to do in your long term goal. I could tell you a bunch of seeds to grow. I could tell you a bunch of plants to grow, but if it doesn't align with your goals, it's not gonna make sense. I'll give you an example. I'll use you as a case study. You don't have a backyard. You don't have a big yard. You don't have um, a lot of area. Do you plan on keep staying in that location, or do you plan on moving to get more land in the future? And when I say future, I mean near future, like in the next year or two. Do you plan on staying where you're at, or moving? I love how people like joining the live, and as they scroll through, like they see a random picture of like random cat scratching behind me. Like, what the hell? Oh, thank you. Charlene says we're very smart. um, getting lots with my school. Okay, but my school, I intend to start in the garden this year. Okay, getting lots with my school. Okay. Um, I think y'all got to talk about what the goal is for the lots. Like the thing is with the lots, because we were gonna do lots too, is sometimes there's restrictions on you being able to grow like perennial plants because the lot isn't technically yours, right? And the city might not allow you to put a tree on it or to put a bush on it or to put those different things on it. So you're gonna have to see if what the restrictions are because that'll change what you could grow. It'll change what you can grow. You might be able to grow some stuff in pots, but it's not going to be as efficient. Um, and what I would say to that is, if you're focused on growing in lots, you might have to grow the garden stuff in the lot and in your own personal house. Save the room for your perennials because you want both. You want to be able to have a perennial portion of products because there's more things you can do with perennials than with annuals. Does that make sense? I kind of gave you a answer, not an answer though. So yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about lots. All right. Well, hopefully we'll be on Monday. Again, like I said, if you guys Monday night, yeah, Monday. Well, I don't even know. Maybe Monday night or Tuesday night. I don't know because I might not even be here Monday night, depending on what I do. Either Monday or Tuesday. But what was I gonna say? Oh, again, what we do is we're trying to give everybody information, but if you feel like you need more information or you're trying to really if you're trying to really start a homestead to be fully self-sufficient, you need more curated help, definitely check out that at the bottom right there. Check that out at the bottom because the amount of money you can save by not making mistakes is immense. It's not a joke when you really try and grow your own food. It's a lot of capital. It takes a lot of capital and you could waste a lot of money with dead plants if you don't know what you're doing. If you if you don't know, oh, damn, that black walnut took my air out of me. But if you don't know what you're doing, you could tear up a lot of plants and inadvertently you could waste a lot of money. So I'll just caution everybody with that. Like, don't just jump in unless you know exactly what your plans are. But other than that, continue to post in the comments on the videos like topics you'd like to see covered. I already have pruning on the list, and what was the other thing we talked about today? No, it wasn't bees. I said I was gonna go live pruning and go live moving her mouth. Damn. But with that, we're gonna let you guys go. Appreciate y'all support. Appreciate y'all keep coming on. Continue to help us share and grow the platform so other people can learn how to grow their food and learn how to do it with intention. All right. You have anything you want to say for your first cameo on the live? No.
Thank you.
Yeah.